I'm currently at a Walmart in my hometown of Deptford, New Jersey. To most people, this would appear to be your typical suburban shopping center. But what if I told you that in this very location, a significant piece of aviation history took place over 200 years ago? Well, we gotta head round back first. Hidden behind this ordinary-looking parking lot lies a piece of American history that not many people, including locals, know the exact location of, which I don't really blame them for, considering it's now really hidden away. If you've ever driven through Deptford, you would have no doubt noticed they've got a theme going on. They've got hot air balloons on the water tower, they've got hot air balloons on the welcome sign, the website. It's practically their logo. They like hot air balloons. That's because this is where, on January 9th, 1793, the first ever manned hot air balloon flight in America ended its journey.
Every new science requires extreme caution and precise knowledge to avoid tragedy on the paths of progress.
Jean-Pierre Blanchard, a French aeronaut, took off from Philadelphia and flew over the Delaware River for 45 minutes to land in what was then open farmland in Deptford, New Jersey.
The first of all professional aeronauts was the Frenchman Jean-Pierre Blanchard. Blanchard took off from the prison yard and he walked it off over the city and across the Delaware River.
Now, you could argue that the first ever hot air balloon landing in the States isn't as significant as the first hot air balloon departure, especially because it's not like the pilot was up in the air going, I want to make sure I land right there in Deptford, New Jersey. That's perfect. Probably just circumstantial. But Philadelphia has enough titles, so I think we can skip this one for them. But some significant people that were there to see the initial departure of Blanchard in his hot air balloon from Philadelphia were Thomas Jefferson, Vice President John Adams, and President George Washington, who actually gave Blanchard a passport, so wherever he decided to land, he could give it to the locals who would assumably be very angry that a giant hot air balloon had just landed in their crops.
The president was much interested in science and was also concerned for the welfare of Blanchard because the Frenchman could not speak English. So Washington gave him a note requesting that wherever he might alight, he be given assistance. It came down in New Jersey. Upon showing the note from the president, Blanchard was given every assistance in deflating a bag, packing it into the basket, into a cart, and taking it back to Philadelphia.
It is debated whether or not that is the first instance of airmail in the States, depending on what your definition of mail is. But after 15 miles of traveling through the air, Blanchard successfully landed his hot air balloon right here near Big Timber Creek. Interesting to note is that the township has put so little thought into this that the only reason there's even a plaque here is because a Boy Scout from the local troop, actually the troop that I used to be a part of, Troop 62, had his Eagle Scout project here, cleaning this area up and building this little QR code that you can scan to learn more about this area, which sadly at this point is so worn you can't actually scan it. My Eagle Scout project was also commemorating a Revolutionary War hero whose gravestone was hidden away behind a development. Why is it that the township isn't putting money into actually funding and preserving their history? Also back here is the Clement Oak, an ancient oak tree that served as a landmark for the Lenape tribe nearby, as well as served as the location for where the white settlers and the Lenape tribe negotiated their terms. It's a bit of a shame that for a township that so heavily brands itself on the historical event of the first ever hot air balloon landing, they couldn't, I don't know, put some time, effort, and money into beautifying the space, maybe put some picnic benches up over there, clear away all the poison ivy that I've got all over my legs, make the place a place that the community would want to go to enjoy, to be able to appreciate that they live in a historically significant town. Instead, the township green-lighted this giant new super Walmart, because, we needed another one. And now the historical location is just hidden away behind a giant cement wall and some bins. That's a British word. I meant garbage cans, trash cans. So the only hint you can really find, there's two plaques hidden back there, you can see. And then also this is what they've decided on. Just a little balloon that's rusted over, just hanging on this fence. It's depressing. Either way, this becomes an interesting debate over preserving history versus allowing a city to grow and change with the times, whatever that means for that city. But I would say that a much better job could have been done here. And it still can. And I mean, it's not like this is just a US-only problem. In 2012, it was discovered that underneath a car park in Leicester, England, lied the remains of King Richard III.
It's been a mystery for 500 years. And now scientists have confirmed that a skeleton found under a Leicester car park is that of King Richard III.
So Maybe the problem is we should stop building parking lots or car parks, whatever you want to call them. I feel like car park sounds like the cars are having a fun time. You know, it's like they're swinging on the swings, they're finding remains of King Richard III.
Well, hello. I'm back in London. The parking lots bit was obviously a joke, but it did get me thinking. A lot of this will inevitably come up in my future video talking about the reverse culture shock that I experienced revisiting my hometown with my girlfriend, because there's just a lot of things. Trying not to touch on the same things here. But let me just sum it up in 4 words. Americans are always going. Or at least, Americans are always going somewhere. So 5 words. It's like the cities and townships are designed so well for getting people in cars from point A to point B. Like when you get to your point B destination, in this case, a Walmart parking lot, there is naught to do except go to said Walmart or get back in your car to then go somewhere else, that even if it is 3 minutes away by foot. But when so much of your local area is filtered through what you can see while driving at speed behind the windshield of your car, fleeting your eyes left to right to kind of see like, oh, what's good? There's not really as much of these historical places that you're going to be able to see, because these exist in the human element, which most of America used to be in, but now isn't really, at least a lot of the places that I grew up / have been around. Let's just talk about this place in particular, the Walmart hidden historical place. To find this place, you would have had to have already known it existed, or here's the other scenario, you just happened to drive to the Walmart, clearly to go to the Walmart, because what else are you doing there? People watching, sure. You then have to choose not to park in the actual parking lot, but to suspiciously go around the back, whose design language is, this is meant for big trucks for deliveries, for trash, and not for you. Then you have to get out of your car behind the Walmart, which just looks really sketchy. Like, I assume someone's gonna call it, what, there's a guy back here. What are you doing back here? I'm just having a walk? Why would you do that? So like, places like this are hidden because it's not built for the human element anymore. But I do think this example leads me to the crux of this. How else are you ever meant to find anything? I don't mean to like look for something. I mean serendipitously find. When's the last time you found something in America, in a standard suburb, in a standard town? I'm just curious, because the only things you can find via car are very large places you can see from the road that have parking lots that you can park at. So, you know, commercial establishments you can spend your money at. But when you're on foot, pace obviously slows down. You begin to notice details, hidden corners, little stores off the beaten path, maybe plaques behind Walmarts. You know, you are actually able to experience your neighborhood rather than just passing through it. But in most of America, from my experience, the infrastructure just is not designed for that experience anymore, especially the suburbs where I grew up. It's built for efficiency, for moving people in cars from point A to point B really well. Not the kind of slow, meandering exploration that reveals the actual character and historical intricacies of a place. A place like my hometown, which is older than 95% of townships in America. So like, you know, it's a shame. In my town in particular, and I know this isn't just a thing in my town, they have crosswalks that lead to grass patches where the design language screams, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be here. This is what's the point of this crosswalk? What is this? This is at the Deptford Mall. This is like the biggest commercial hub of my township. And they put a crosswalk in that leads to nowhere. I've also seen sidewalks like this one I pulled over to film that just end. I don't get it. It just feels like there is so little room for slowing down, taking in your surroundings, or just simply existing in a space, unless specifically in my hometown, you're in the Deptford Mall. It's weird that one of the main things I wanted to take my girlfriend to was the mall that I used to go to, because that was the only space I really had to walk, to just enjoy seeing things. Whereas everything else was get in a car, A to B, A to B. I feel like it is kind of sad that the only place that I could choose to be or exist was a shopping establishment. You know, you'd walk around and go, maybe get a little Starbucks, walk into that cool store that's got the spinning lights. That was it. That was it. Otherwise, you're on a road going A to B, A to B, A to B, A to B, mall. But this design, the way that the place is pretty much just designed for cars now, is probably one of the big reasons why this hidden plaque feels like a relic of a bygone era. Because they're remnants in time, a time when people did walk, they explored, they flew balloons over the Delaware River. So, like, when I revisited my hometown, what struck me most wasn't just the physical changes, but the way those changes made the whole town feel. Like, it felt like a place not where you lived, but you just existed in transit. Like you're always on the way to going somewhere else. Like there's no glue in the middle of where things are, if that makes any sense. And you're in this constant motion, and it feels like it's so easy to like lose sight of the places, even the people, that make the town a lot more than just a collection of roads and buildings. You know, like the actual community, the neighborhood, it feels so much more spread out. And I know that's a thing that it's not like the first time anyone's ever said that, but it's just weird to come back and experience that. And I feel like, yeah, that's how I'm feeling. If you're an American, sound off if you've got something similar, or genuinely, if you got a very different experience of your town, I'd like to hear about it. There's a big video like this coming in the future when I can get all of my thoughts really cemented. I just wanted to tack this on here because it really felt relevant to the conversation. Either way, been working on a huge vid on pedestrian crossings coming next week or the week after that, which I'm very excited for. So hopefully I'll see you there next Sunday. Thank you very much for subscribing to watch whatever it is I upload, and I will see you as usual next week. Goodbye.